Newsbrief. PUBG Mobile is officially surpassed 200 million registered users and, according to The Verge, currently boasts about 30 million daily active users. That figure is a notable achievement for any game, but especially so far since its primary battle royale competitor, Epic Games Fortnite, only crossed that same 200 million player threshold last month. The Verge says that PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds 200 million count only includes players of PUBG Mobile, meaning that it does not include those who have purchased the Battle Royale game on PC and console, and does not include any of the PUBG players in China. Bryant Francis, at Bryant2012, interviews game developers on Havas. There was for Gamasutra. He also runs the GDC Twitch channel. 2019 is upon us. Good Lord, what a tumultuous year it's been. We gave a sad goodbye to some stellar studios, saw some proper accounting for the impact of sexual harassment in the game development workplace, and had constant conversation about how game workers can improve their lot in an industry that can call for intense work conditions. Amidst all the challenges, a lot of great developers put out some seriously great games this year, and we are getting a lot of chances at Gamasutra to celebrate them this week. Today, here's some of the games that your humble contributing editor video producer has truly enjoyed in 2018. 1-bit Studios, Frostpunk, was the 2018 game I could never stop thinking about. From the moment my poor survivors reached the totemic generator, sitting in the frozen Arctic North, every decision I spent with this society simulator helped me reckon with the demons of authoritarianism and how much control and the lies you can tell yourself in the name of the greater good. Frostpunk's thoughtful design means that it's not just an arbitrary moral messenger here to warn you of the wills of a police state, a theocratic regime. It's crafted to guide you on a path of different paths of pain points, to remind you that just because you did not commit higher crimes against freedom, your lesser decisions still infringed on the rights of your people. And as the pressure drops, and your city is freed from the frozen snow, in a great sigh of relief, you will look at its become and see how even its physical shape was impacted by how much you do give up in the name of survival. Marvel's Spider-Man is just one emotional pit stop for the well-headed hero who's had a hell of a 2018. He gave his life in the film Infinity War, has reframing his own heroic origins in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and when given a shot, Insomniac Games does not waste any time when granted us one of the biggest icons in pop culture. Not only does Marvel's Spider-Man give breath to a dizzying and dynamic traversal system that takes advantage of New York's iconic architecture, Insomniac also uses its mission design and gadget expertise to weave a narrative about the struggles of Peter Parker, and how his selfless nature and faith in other people can be used against him. But it's still not a cynical game. It's quippy, it's cute, and it gives Mary Jane Watson something to do. If superheroes are becoming the modern-day mythological heroes, it's great that Insomniac Games injects a meaningful experience in the middle of its well-honed, well-polished technical achievement. Speaking of mythological heroes, Assassin's Creed Odyssey lands on this list, doing its incredible simulation of the ancient Greek world. It's a massive credit to the world artists, the modelers, the architects, and the designers at Ubisoft around the world, who take the Ubisoft open world model and create a compelling, colorful experience out of it. It's a land where wandering away from the main quest takes you to a gorgeous mountain top that's not just a skybox, but has its own small secrets for you to dig up. Its side quests often go beyond just being part of a to-do list, rather show how vibrant, saucy, and overdramatic the great world could be sometimes. It's a history lesson in sex, drunkenness, and adventure, interested in human messiness, not just the shiny MacGuffin baubles. A lot of games on this celebrate the layering of intricate systems that create flashy and dynamic experiences when they all sync together just right. For Long Sails is not one of those games. It's a slow, lonely push across an apocalyptic landscape that moves at its snail's pace, letting you manage the individual components that push your dilapidated land boat forward. And it's just the right kind of slowness and sadness to stand out in 2018. Locomotive made this game after realizing the important project might just be worth putting out into the broader world. And the company deserves congratulations for making something so polished and thoughtful that it can affect such an emotional attachment to an inanimate object that you learn so much about. Yup, X-Wing Miniatures joins my list again, but for a good reason. I spent much of my gaming time this year anticipating and exploring Fantasy Flight's 2.0 conversion of the tabletop war guide, and it's incredible how the Minnesota-based company managed to perform a career revamp that supported veteran players and created space for new ones to join the game. Fantasy Flight's choice to not only effectively port their 2012 tour new rules set and dip their toes into the waters of app-reliant games shows how the tabletop space is evolving and can find more ways to support players who've been collecting the product for years. More and more, game development evolves into game evolution, and X-Wing Miniatures 2.0 is a stellar example for games in 2018 that metamorphosized into something new. Supergiant Games, no hack-and-slash adventure, has been out for only a couple of weeks and it's cemented itself into the pantheon of 2018. Not only does it show off Supergiant's traditional mastery over isometric combat and some of the best game feel of 2018, goodness gracious, it's a fundamentally great foundation for its early access period. Years from now, when you are reading this evaluation of Hades, it will be a fundamentally different game, and that's okay. But the promise of an experience that steadily improves this great myth family feud is a good promise to end 2018 with. Look, I do love the Stompy McWall. I really do. I'd put any game in this list that had Stompy McWall, but Stompy McWall and the simulation of running my small mercenary company, that's the kind of role-playing experience only Harebrained Schemes can deliver. Worrying about finances, checking in with my crew members, carefully calculating fuel rates. All of these are the small moments that make that pop of a Mac blowing up just feel so good. Celeste is a damn good rethinking of what platformers need to do when there are so many of them launching on Steam every week. In a design space that's dominated by hardcore thinking and trying to make every frame of movement matter, Celeste takes that entire philosophy and manages to make something meaningful happen with it. It's filled with clever challenges, but does not get mad at you for screwing them up. It makes the struggle and exasperation a part of its story, and paints a perfect pastel painting of a Canadian mountain that can make your struggles manifest and give you something to conquer. I genuinely did not understand the appeal of roguelikes until I played Dead Cells. I'd also have complete 100% respect for how this game was made. As Sebastien Benard told us earlier this year, Dead Cells is a game that does not try to rely on perfectly simulated physics, but a design team's keen understanding of what players want to be a challenge. So it's not punishing you for making mistakes that are not core to its central design. The layered weapons are fantastic. The color and character of its space is delightful, and even though it's nearly impossible to make it to the end, just picking it up and going for a fun 0-minute run feels so simple and easy it cannot not be on this list. Look, I never understood God of War prior to this game, but Sony Santa Monica's soft reboot Modern Migration Across is a standout, polished experience that not only does a decent job adding a layer of sympathy and softness to the angry, lecherous video game hero, but is also one of the year's most fascinating level design experiences.